just being polite. So if you could just tell me who you are, what your role is at the school, and how long you've been working here, what brought you here?
Okay, well, my name is Carl Thomas. I'm the head custodian here for CSA. I've been here since August of 2012.
Okay.
I actually came in right before this school year started because they closed my school,
Okay.
which was Central, the old Central High School. It was named after Carl and Lewis Stokes, the two brothers here. And 8 years there, and they decided to close it. There were some repairs that needed to be done structurally. I guess they didn't want to spend the money, so they closed the building down. I ended up moving here. So I've only been here for a few months.
Right.
I've
2012 or 2013?
2013.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay. So
Yeah,
just a few months.
2013. So
That's what, yeah. I mean, you seem to like I said, you were walking in the hallway, saying you look like you had a good Christmas break. Like, I mean, what do you think that being a male, or what your position in the school? What do you feel like your job is? Besides being the head custodian, do you?
Well, I tell you what. See, a lot of times, because of certain liabilities, I know that some people can feel uncomfortable with interacting with the students. And then in this position, you have a lot of people who do not interact. That tends to me, set up a wall that really shouldn't be there because we're all considered educators. I'm a product of the Cleveland schools. I could have gone many places as far as with my third class engineering certification for Ohio. I mean, I could have, but this was my way of being able to give back. I'm second generation custodian. That's one of the other reasons why I try to put in an influence and a positive way for the students, because my dad was a custodian. He was fairly liked,
Right.
but I wanted them to know that as my role, a lot of times what I discovered, even before I became custodian, was a lot of the students would interact, I guess just with my personality.
Okay.
So I tried to use that to give back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I wasn't always a model student. I've had my times, and you know what's really different for me was that when I was a student for the Cleveland school system, I had some of the same teachers that once I became employed by them, we were on the same side, and it got to the point where I would actually dodge them because it was an embarrassment. I mean, I know that I had changed, but I remembered the things that I just did back when I was a kid. And they sat me down. They cornered me one day. I was at the old John Adams High School, and they cornered me one day. And they told me, they said, "We knew that you were going to be okay, Mr. Thomas. You don't have to stop, dodging us and stuff." And they saw what I was doing with the students. And to me, it's just giving them a way to say, not every custodian is mean. I mean, we care about the safety of the school. We care about the students. You give them a better environment. You give them a learning experience. And that environment doesn't always have to be structural, although that is the major part of it. But to see someone come in and say that, okay, this is what I can give you right now, as far as motivation, as far as being inspirational, that's what's important to me. And then I fix everything else.
So what is different? I don't know about Central High School, but what is different? Like, is there a difference between the students? Is there in the classrooms and in the building, in the structure? Like, why is this school so successful in terms of college applicants having higher test scores or getting into college?
Well, honestly, I think that it's probably more based on the moral standpoint of parenting and family. I have not changed. Central was a K through 8 school. Yes, there were some problems there as far as performance and academic levels, but I didn't change. You still were able to reach them. The inspiration was just kind of short-lived when they're only getting that motivation from the teachers in the classrooms, and then they go home to a different environment. So here, I noticed that there's a lot more interaction with the parents being involved, the teachers being involved, every staff member, every different level of classification or certification is involved. That's the difference that I see.
So you think maybe the problem with some of these other schools is starting in the home, like the parents aren't as invested. Maybe they don't know that they can be as invested. They don't have the resources to be as invested in their students as CSA does.
Yeah. And that would be not just for CSA, but almost anywhere. I mean, it just seems to be the practical application that needs to be initiated, and sometimes it just doesn't happen, and it's because maybe they don't know, But you know, these kids are great. I mean, I walk around. I'm motivated. I just sat down from 5 o'clock this morning.
Right.
We've had a lot of things to do, and I told them, I said, as soon as I get finished, I was going to sit down and rest my bones. But the driving force behind that is the fact I don't think they saw me as a threat, where I can go into certain schools and it's almost like they approach you like they're walking on rice paper. And here it was an embrace that happened with the students first, which was always an impression for me. So yeah, I can be tired, but to hear them singing in the band room or the choir room, but know that it's 40 degrees in there, I'm not going to sit down until I get in there and get it fixed. And they see that, and I get a lot of thank yous and stuff, but I can tell them I'm just doing my job. There's nothing extra. The extra part comes when I can actually interact with the kids. If it's personal, academic, whatever it is. I mean, if they come to me with it, I try to interact with it.
Why do you feel? You said like you feel the need to be inspirational or to give back. Like, why do you feel those? Like, why do you want to be inspirational to these kids, or why do you want to give back to the school so much? What was it about your experience, or?
Well, most of my experiences coming up weren't bad. I had to make choices. I made some bad choices, but for the group of students that I chose to be with, it was a mixture of being able to be a teenager and still be serious about life. And because I was exposed to that, those same people are still my very best friends after 20-something odd years, 30 years together. And for the time in which I grew up, that's all I had. So, to see or to even have the media come back at you with more violence or this, that, and the other, there's always the 1% Gentile. But it only takes one person. And that was the inspiration for me as I was coming up. It only took one person. And it wasn't a teacher, it was another kid. It was somebody maybe a year older than me. And, I was introduced to a whole different world where I didn't have to I could be myself and be accepted,
Right.
So, and then to find out who you are is a discovery beyond anything that you can buy. So,
right. Or learn in the classroom, perhaps.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons why, because I got family in Ford, Chrysler. I could be in the engineering department or plant making six figures.
Not interested.
No. I would come in as a consultant.
Right.
But if I had that choice, I would still do it with the district first. These kids are most important to me. I got sick and tired of hearing about, you hear about the Cleveland schools all the time. And early on, because I came up through the ranks. I was a cleaner, laborer. I was a bus driver, actually. I was a bus driver, cleaner, laborer, assistant custodian, and custodian. And just wanted to make a difference. It's like, I got sick and tired of people, Cleveland schools is this and that. I was like, no, it's not. It's just the hidden jewels. And that's really what it's about. I mean, if you're born into this world, you have a gift and a talent. Now, whether these guys, they know about it and they're honing it, tuning it, and enhancing it for themselves. But everyone has some type of gift or talent, and I believe that. So I don't care if they're from Wade Park or another elementary school, if there's any problems, violence or being able to react in a way that would be restraining or what they're used to is just the opposite for me. And 9 times out of 10, they comply, Yeah. So it's like, hey, that works. Hey, I know something, so I want to be able to pass it on.
Do you feel like, at least in your position, what you've realized or been involved in so far, do you guys feel like the community supports you? Do you feel like maybe the mayor or the city hall, town council, city council, do you feel like you have the support of the city? in Cleveland public schools to as much as it could be, or as much as it should be?
Well, that's a trick question. That's a yes and no question because, again, we politics can only fix so much, and then it usually in the process creates more chaos.
Implementation.
Um, I believe that the support of the Cleveland schools is a little lacking, only because of how the politics is played on the for-profit schools, and you're taking from the public sector, which is already hurting. And the funding was cut almost a third. So you're taking from these kids for voucher programs and charter schools, which is fine. But if now it's for profit, that's not good. So for the the local governments and state governments and federal governments to even let that go, you have people like Harvey Rice that was he fought for free education as a politician. And then the others that follow along with him. That's where it's like a yes or no answer. Yeah, we've got support, but couldn't you fund it for charter vouchers some other way? Why would you take from the public sector? Just like with the medical.
Understand. Do you have anything else that you think is pertinent that you would want someone to know about CSA or about why you do what you do that you would want if people to know about, or that I haven't covered, that I haven't asked you?
Well, no, I think you've done a good job on asking. I mean, there's 1,001 things we could add to it.
Sure.
Yeah. But my contribution is just my contribution. I love the kids. I don't care who they are.
And you feel like that's shared? You feel like that's shared among all the teachers and all the employees at this school or other schools you've worked at?
One thing I can tell you in 26 years of working with this district, for what some in the media as a source of news would say bad teachers, I can't say I've ran into any. I can say that there are some that have been distraught or maybe stressed from what I call the political syndrome of just trying to get through working the job and under the restraints. I mean, because a lot of what they would say is that it's the teacher's fault when, it takes a village to raise a child. I don't know why that went out of the window, but me personally, I've worked with hundreds of teachers and I've seen thousands of students in 26 years. And each one of them I know can do better. I know that those teachers, I honestly can't say. Maybe it would be 0.1% out of 100 that you could label as bad. And that's almost like the same with the kids. They can say, well, at another school there's all this violence and craziness going on. It's still 1% of the total population, or 10% of the total population. But the feel here at CSA is almost exactly the same as the feel at Carlin Lewis Stokes. I would say the only difference was the leadership, the administrators. That was the only difference. Yeah. He doesn't. Our leadership here does not seem short-circuited or overloaded. It seems like whatever the powers that be is well distributed. That makes a difference. Whereas the leadership at other schools that I've been at, you can tell that they were short-circuiting, overloaded, and it was almost like they said, be quick to listen, slow to anger, slow to speak and respond. That was thrown out the window, almost on their own, because of whatever pressures they were under. I think that's the biggest difference.
Leadership.
The leadership makes the difference, and then those who understand themselves, to come in as a staff member or an employee. If you know yourself and you know who you are and whose you are, that makes a big difference. And if you're willing to listen, that makes a big difference. I tell the two cleaners I have here, I'm like, please, we can get along. I can share the work with you. I don't care that I'm a custodian. What I care about is the kids. So don't make me be a supervisor. let's just work together, hand in hand. That would be it. That's my ticket. We're still working on it. It's a work in progress, but we're still working on it.
Working together, collaboratively.
That's it. It's not about titles unless you make me if I have to make a decision based on your performance, even knowing that you know that I will be here with you to help you, then I have to be a supervisor. Other than that, we keep it in-house. We'll talk. You talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. You know, you have that right. We'll work it out, and if we can't work it out, we'll just get along without it, you know? That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel more comfortable here, although, you know, I was thrown into a building that was neglected extremely. But we do what we can. Downtown seems to be responding, you know, so we'll see if I think we got another year here.
Yeah.
So
and you get a new building, right?
Yeah, they're actually working on that, but that's not always a good thing. You know, but I'm sure they're looking forward to it, but we're trying to make progress while they're here.
Right. Still got another year here. Still got to.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we leave the door open for the next school, because it's probably going to be another school coming in here too.
Work and learn.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I think this is all really good stuff.
All right. I hope I was able to help.
No, absolutely. I think you hit the